Stargirl, ladies and gentlemen, episode 6, the betrayal, the sheer betrayal of it all. And it's your boy Icon with a little DC TV, and we're going over some Stargirl. So this was interesting, and you know the thumbnail, Jess and King, you were 100% correct. The thumbnail that I posted for last week's Stargirl was definitely a prelude to what took place in this particular episode. But now. This starts off actually with Courtney. So Courtney, she's still hanging out with Cameron. She's still ditching, breakfast and, ditching school, whatever. She's teaching Cameron how to control his powers, and he's in the field doing the icicle thing. And then she's just like, it's all lovey and dovey and blah, blah, blah. Pat and Barbara, they actually, Sylvester ended up telling them that he was like, hey, like I was talking to the kids last night, and they had mentioned that she was actually hanging out with Cameron McKent. So that's when they put two and two together. They were just like, well, because they already knew that she had liked a boy, but they didn't know who. So now they figured it's Cameron McKent. And because it was Cameron, they ended up going down to the grandparents' house, not because they didn't trust Cameron. And, Barbara even said that. She said at one point it wasn't about Cameron. She said, I don't trust the grandparents because like they wig out a little bit, and then they always were acting funny. And then like Cindy had mentioned that one of them, their eyes turned white or whatever. So they're just like, yo, they just want to know the deal. And then Pat even said that they knew about the mind control device that Icicle Senior had, in the first season. So they go down to the house, they're having a conversation. The grandmother is still bitter as all hell. Like the grandfather, he was a little more cool about it because he was just like, he's like, let's just have a conversation with them and see what they're all about. And then she was like, me was poison their food. And then I was just like, God damn. So I was like, this is very crazy. But then Courtney and Cameron, they came in the house, and then they saw Pat and Barbara and the grandparents talking. And then after that, we never saw Cameron or his grandparents again for the rest of the episode. And then, Courtney was talking to Pat and them, and they were just, she was just like, oh, Cameron's not a bad guy. And then that's when they was like, it's not about Cameron. It's about his thieving ass grandparents who tried to poison us. And then they're just like, just be on the lookout because we don't trust that family at all. But if you say Cameron's cool, then maybe we should trust your instincts. So now Rick, who has turned off the hourglass. So, and it's weird because do we still call him Hour Man because he no longer has strength for an hour? The boy broke he broke the hourglass to the point where he broke the timer to the point where now he has unlimited strength. And and even then, you can't say, because like Sylvester even said, he said that your father put a timer on the hourglass for a reason. But the thing about it is when he takes the hourglass off, because it still has the sands that run from like top to bottom. So if he has unlimited strength now and there's no longer a time limit, what's the sense of having the sand? Like, why turn the sand over? It's like, now is it a situation where he just takes the hourglass off and then he loses his strength, and then when he puts it back on, he has it again? That wasn't never really explained, but now that he has infinity and unlimited strength, he's like, pumping iron, lifting weights, doing what he got to do just to test his own limits and test his own strength, which is cheating. So that's it for Rick, but nothing has come yet as far as like the side effects of what he's doing. So there will be side effects. We just got to wait and see what the side effects are. Beth, she is still talking to her parents. Like her parents were just like, oh dear, we tried to call you on the goggles. It's like, did you block us? And then I'm just like, here we go. And Beth is like, yes, I blocked you because I told you I don't want you, involved in my superhero business. And she was like, don't make me push you away. And I'm just like, you're in there. This is their house. like you have black parents and this is their house. You are in their house. You cannot push your parents away in their house. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And I don't understand why her parents are allowing this bullshit to continue. But then she just hit him with this. She was just like, I told you guys I don't want you involved and blah, blah, blah. And then, her parent, like the mom looked like she's about to bust that ass. Like first there was like a split second where the mom was like, look, damn it. But then, she reeled it in, and then she told her husband. And I'm like, they made her a suit. Give her the goddamn suit. I just want to see the suit because I hate what she's wearing now. She looks like a damn fool. So the parents left, tails tucked between their legs, and now we're moving on. And then Beth goes back on the computer because she's still doing the computer thing and trying to decipher all the clues and all the evidence. Now Yolanda, she went to church, and she had the worst confession of all, like the worst confessional session of all time. When you go to confession, I went to Catholic school for 8 years. When you go to confession, you were supposed to sit in the room. The priest is supposed to sit on the other side. He's not supposed to see your face. He's not supposed to know who you are. So this way, whatever it is you confess, you will not be judged based on what you confessed. after you make your confession, regardless of what it is, he's supposed to give you a penance, which is saying like 4 Hail Marys and 10 Our Fathers or whatever, and then you're supposed to be absolved of your sins. This was a damn counseling session. The girl done sat in the girl sat in the confessional, and as soon as she sits down, the priest is like, "So what do you want to talk about, Yolanda?" And I'm like, "Huh?" I'm like, "You're not supposed to know it's Yolanda." And then she was just like, "Oh, like I've exposed people for doing bad things." And then he's like, "Don't judge unless ye be judged." And I'm like, "What? What are you doing?" And then he was just like, "Oh, that's not the way, Yolanda. You should be ashamed of yourself." And I'm like, "Bro, that's not what you're supposed to do. This isn't counseling. You're not supposed to counsel her. If you wanted to counsel her, then you sit with her in another situation and you have a one-on-one conversation." He was like just talking about her business and shit. I'm like, this is a confessional. You're supposed to give her a prayer to say and then go on about her business. And then he was just like, "Oh," he was like, "Oh, you will be resolved of your sins." And then she was like, "Nah, bro." She was like, "I ain't come here to get resolved for no sins because I ain't do nothing yet." She said, "I came here because I need forgiveness for the shit that I'm about to do," because she was about to go bust in the ass. So she gets the laptop, and then everybody minus Courtney, they're having a conversation with Sylvester. And then Sylvester was just like, "Hey, listen," he said, "take this laptop." He gave it to Beth. He was like, "Yo, download all the information on the laptop, and then once we get all the information, put the laptop back under her bed." Because he was like, if she finds out that it's missing, she might try to run, and we'll never find out the truth about what the plan really is, if she even is working with Dragon King. And Sylvester, he kind of like, he didn't seem like he was ready to just like denounce Cindy, but he was just more so trying to like steer the team in the right direction of the right thing to do. So Yolanda goes to put it back, she goes to put the computer back. And then when she puts the computer back under the bed, that's when Cindy shows up. And then she's like, "Gotcha, bitch." And then the two of them get into a fight. And to Cindy's credit, because Cindy was just like, listen, she said, "I didn't kill the gambler. And if you give me a chance to explain, I will tell you why I took the laptop and why I didn't tell you." Yolanda wasn't trying to hear it. She tried to bust that ass. The two of them got into a fight. And even then, Cindy was losing the fight. Like, Yolanda was actually like kicking her ass and getting the better of her. And we all know Cindy's a better fighter than that. So you have to assume, because she's still trying to turn over a new leaf and be a better person, she wasn't really invested in the fight with Yolanda. But because Yolanda didn't want to listen to the story, then she had no choice but to do what she had to do. So they end up fighting out on the front lawn. And why does this girl still live in this house when both of her parents are deceased? But she, they end up fighting on the front lawn. And then Rick tried to throw a car at her. And I'm like, how did that happen? And then Rick shows up, and now it's Rick versus Yolanda. It's Rick and Yolanda versus Cindy. And then they fight Cindy. And then they beat Cindy up. And then they knock Cindy on the floor. Nobody's questioning why this boy got unlimited strength. And then, then Beth saw the whole thing, because while Beth was going through the computer, she actually came across the files that the gambler came across when he was searching for his daughter. And Beth found the cameras that this mystery person has planted all over, Blue Valley. And then on the camera, she saw the fight between Rick, Yolanda, and Cindy. So she called Courtney. Courtney showed up, she zoomed down on, like with the cosmic staff. And then she was just like, "Yo, what's going on?" And then, then that's when they were just like, "Oh, she stole the laptop." And then she was like, "But I didn't kill anybody." And then like her sleeve had ripped and they saw her arm. And she said she took the laptop because when she realized she was turning green, she took the laptop to get some of the gambler's files so she can find like different labs, different secret places that her dad had built all over the world, so she can try to find a cure for whatever the hell is happening to her. And then that's when Courtney was just like, "Why didn't you just tell us, Cindy? Like, you lied to us." And then she was like, "Bitch," she was like, "Before you start talking about the lies, like, don't throw stones in the glass house," because she was like, "You've been secretly training Icicle Jr. behind everybody's back." And then that's when my mind was completely blown, because it wasn't about Cindy at that point. Cindy got mad and walked away. We are now having a conversation, and I hate when TV shows do this, but I'm giving Stargirl a pass because they're teenagers. Well, they're teenagers. They're in high school, and they're actually supposed to be this stupid. So it now turns into, "Oh, you're training Cameron McKent. He has superpowers." Because see, the thing about it is, they're just like, "Oh, if Cameron had powers, you should have told us, and you've betrayed our trust because you didn't tell us." And I'm like, let's be 100%, let's be totally 100% honest about this. Who cares? The fact that Courtney, they already know that her and Cameron were dating. They know that Cameron is Icicle Jr.'s kid. He's Icicle Jr. They know he's Cameron. They know he's Icicle Sr.'s kid. They know that. Would it have really made a difference if she would have said, "Hey guys, despite the fact that Cameron and I are dating, he also has ice powers like his daddy, and I'm going to be training him for a little while to make sure he can control his power. What would have changed? Like, they still would have been upset. They still would have been like, oh, don't train. Instead of having a conversation, see, they can hide behind the, oh, you didn't tell us, and then it also goes to show, for them to be that mad about Cindy, talk about, oh, Cindy's the bad guy. We don't trust Cindy. We don't trust Cindy. Apparently, you didn't care about Cindy that much because you quickly just moved on to the next thing. And to say that you're like, your internal soul is crushed because she, like, when Courtney spoke to Sylvester, and then Courtney was like, I'm sorry I didn't tell you that Cameron had power. Sylvester was like, so? Russ was like, you ain't gotta apologize to me. Nobody care about that shit. So, but he was just like, your friends were in high school. They got their feelings in a bunch. The bottom line is, Rick, for whatever reason, is just jealous that he's not the only guy on the team anymore because Rick is the only dude in this group. And the fact that Courtney's hanging around Cameron, I don't even know what the beef is that Rick has with Cameron. Like, that was never talked about. Like, that beef was never discussed. Like, I don't even know why they have problems, but he just doesn't like Cameron because he's a dude. Yolanda's whole thing is she just don't trust nobody. She like everybody evil. So she was just like, if your daddy evil, then you evil. But I'm like, but your parents are evil though, because she even said she had a conversation with Beth where Beth was like, oh, should I have told, was I wrong, for telling my parents about the secret or telling my parents to, go away? And then she was like, no. And then she was like, would you have told your parents? And then Yolanda was like, hell no, because my parents ain't shit. So I'm like, how you gonna sit here and judge somebody else when your parents ain't shit? And you talk about, oh, you're gonna be just like your parents. What about your parents? Now, this leads us to Beth Chapel. Because Beth was just like, oh, I've been on your side, Courtney, the whole time, but Rick and Yolanda are right. And I'm like, okay, but even if you do feel like they're right, I'm like, Beth, why do you look disgusted? You know what I'm saying? Like, you've turned on your own parents. And I love this show, but sometimes the teenage, like, over emotional drama of it just completely like the logic just blows my mind. And then later on, like I said, but this was a cool line because when they went back to the garage and they was like giving Courtney the riot act, and then she was just like, they're just like, oh, you should have told us. And then she was all like trying not to cry or whatever. And then she was just like, well, until we get this sorted out, I guess Sylvester can run the JSA. And Yolanda was like, he already is, bitch. And Yolanda makes like the illest, like, stink faces at people. Like, you can just feel that she hates you from across the room with those looks on her face. Like, that's awesome. So then, Courtney's home and she's crying and she's just like, oh, my friends don't like me anymore. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. And then Sylvester was talking to her, and then he was telling her the story about, he was like, yes, my sister, who was never spoken about, in seasons 1 or 2, was dating Brainwave, which was never spoken about in seasons 1 and 2. And I thought that he was mind controlling my sister, but then I found out that she actually loved him. And then they had a son, Henry, who I never met first. How did you not meet Henry? I don't understand this. I mean, Jess and King, we were texting about this through YouTube. This whole story about his sister dating the bad guy. When did all of this? I need to go back and watch season 1 because I swear to God, this never came up in conversation. Now all of a sudden, and then it's like for Sylvester to act the way that he's acting, it's like, bro, your sister was dating the bad guy. So like the episode, instead of being called the betrayal, the episode should have been called the hypocrisy. So then after that, it's the next morning, and we're sitting in the kitchen. Pat is talking to Courtney. Beth goes running over to the house because Beth had found out at that moment, not only does this random mystery person have cameras posted all over Blue Valley, they have cameras actually in everyone's home. And she goes back to, she goes to Courtney's house pretending like the whole camera thing never happened. And then she's just like, which means it wasn't that serious to begin with. And then she ends up like turning on the blender. And then while the blender's on, she offered them juice in their own house. And then she showed them the camera that's planted in their house. So now, and then that's when Stargirl was like, she was like, what should we do? And then Pat was like, shut up, bitch. Like, and he closed the computer screen because he's like, the eyes are watching. And that was it. And then they had like a puzzle piece with a face, which I think, again, I couldn't really see it, but it looked like the face of the person at the end of season 2, with the lady who's like, you know, trying to take the kids or whatever, like the Red Skull guy. I think that's him. It might not even be Dragon King. It might just be like the Red Skull guy. But there is something going on with Cindy, and we need to find out what's going on with Cindy. Who once Cindy dropped the bomb that Courtney was dating Cameron, who has icicle powers. Once that conversation started, she just went home. She just walked away and went home. But now we're back in a situation where there are eyes all over Blue Valley. We need to find out where these eyes are coming from. I feel like the season is finally starting because we're actually talking about the villain here. And thank you for tuning in. I saw the coming attractions for next week. I believe we're getting the return of the Shade, the MVP of season 2, the Shade. So that's going to be cool. And then, you know, so we're still doing the Cameron thing. We're going to argue. I just want to see who this dude is finally, because now that we've ruled Cindy out, like let's get on board and let's get the bad guy stuff going so we can have like good versus evil, because that's what Stargirl's all about. So share your questions, comments, and or concerns down below. If you like my t-shirt, go to imaginativevisions.com for all your imaginative visions, personal wear and clothing and everything. Check out my videos on Tacos and Geek podcast, because at Comic-Con, I did interview the Ghost Brothers, who have a show on Paramount. Part 1 of my Comic-Con experience is on my YouTube channel. Part 2 is coming soon. It'll probably be up by the time you guys see this video. And like I said, we got other stuff coming because we're still doing She-Hulk, which I think is over. We're still doing She-Hulk. And on November 4th and December 3rd, we're getting Titans and Doom Patrol. So thanks for tuning in, guys. So again, hit me up on Twitter and or Instagram. Hit the notification bell so you'll get notified when my videos pop up. Until next time, next week, for some more Betrayal on Stargirl. Take care, and about this